Hi, I'm Rich Torrey. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you ever need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? Now, before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. So we've been challenging ourselves drawing some of the early superheroes from the golden era of comic books. And I was going to take a break from it, but then I realized I hadn't drawn one of the early legends, the Flash. And I know I still haven't drawn the Human Torch, Green Lantern, Plastic Man, Spectre, or Submariner yet. I can only promise you that I'm not going anywhere, and we will get to them. Anyway, as I said, today we're going to draw the original Jay Garrick version of The Flash, created by writer Gardner Fox and artist Harry Lampert, inspired by the mythological figure Mercury, reflected in his iconic costume, which featured a winged helmet and boots. Actually, in the storyline, that helmet belonged to Jay Garrick's father, Joseph, who fought during World War I. So this original Golden Era version of The Flash made his debut in Flash Comics #1 in January 1940, published by All American Publications, one of the companies that would later merge to form DC Comics. Now, as I searched for just the right reference to use as my starting point for our drawing, I ran into a problem I have had with many of the Golden Era versions of these superheroes. They're not drawn particularly well, at least not up to the standards that we're used to seeing today, right down to the continuity of the Flash's facial features. It varied greatly. I'll let you come up with your own conclusions by showing you some of the images from the Golden Era Flash comics. I actually hesitate to even bring it up, as I'm not here to criticize. It's just an observation that I had not been aware of before. What we're drawing is from the start of this art form, and the superhero comic illustration has evolved greatly over time. Okay, enough said. I just wanted to point that out and to say that for today's drawing, while I kept the original Jay Garrick Golden Era version, I kind of updated the look of his body just a little. Anyway, what do you say we get started drawing the Golden Era version of The Flash? We're going to be drawing the Flash step by step, giving you the secret formula to be able to draw him again and again. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I normally use the character's head to figure out how big the entire character is. In this running pose, the Flash is just about 5 heads tall. In other words, however tall his head is, his entire body is about 5 of those tall. Okay, so what do you say we get started with our roadmap for the fastest man alive, the Flash? So there's our roadmap for the Flash. Now before we go on to step 2, I want to give you the layout of the Flash's running pose using simple shapes for those of you who want to screen grab. Just something to help you to lay out your drawing. Okay, so now we're on to step 2. In this step, we do what I call roughing out the features. I want to remind you that until the third and final step, you want to draw as light as possible. You'll see that I use guidelines to help you to know where to put the Flash's eyes, nose, mouth, and the brim of his helmet, as well as the chest muscles and some of the other things. We don't want those guidelines in the final drawing, so you want to draw them light enough to be able to erase them easily. Okay, so let's rough out the features for the original Jay Garrick version of the Flash. Okay, so there are the roughed out features of the Flash. So now with the roadmap done and the features roughed out, it's time for that final step. In step 3, we get to have fun. We get to draw on the final details of the Flash. We don't have to guess where to put things because we've already done all the hard work figuring that out. Now would be the time to take a moment to look at your drawing of the Flash while it's still lightly sketched out and fix or change things before you commit the drawing to those final lines. But even after you begin those final lines, you should still be thinking about how you might improve your drawing all the way until the very end. All right, so let's draw in the details for the Flash. And that's how you do it. There you have it from the golden era of comic books, the original Jay Garrick version of the fastest man alive, the Flash. So how do you think you did? Understand, if you've never drawn the Flash before, you can't expect to have drawn him perfectly. Like all the characters we've been attempting this month, the Flash is not an easy drawing. You notice I don't spend time coloring the Flash during this video because I want my lesson to focus solely on the drawing process. Now you have the secret formula, the process for drawing the original version of the Flash. And with that, you could draw him again and again. By all means, color him when you're done. I promise each time you draw him, it'll be a little better and a little easier. I also promise the more you work with me, the better you're going to get at all of your cartoon characters. So I'd love to see your drawing of the Flash. If you can, take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. I hope you've been enjoying these golden era of comic book superheroes. Remember to subscribe, and thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep drawing, my friends.